The Galactic Council had ruled the stars for 12,000 years. 47 species lived under its laws. 47 species followed its rules. And for 12,000 years, no one had dared to question its judgment. Park Gina stood in the center of the great chamber. Her hands were locked in glowing chains that floated around her wrists. The chains made a soft humming sound. She did not move. She did not speak. She simply waited. The chamber was enormous. It was built from a crystal that glowed with soft blue light. Thousands of aliens sat in seats that rose up like a mountain around her. Some had scales. Some had fur. Some looked like insects. Some looked like nothing she had ever seen before. All of them watched her with cold eyes. Gina was human. She was 34 years old. She had spent her whole life working to reach this position. Ambassador to the Galactic Council. The first human to ever hold such a title. Her mother had cried with pride when she received the appointment. Her brother had thrown a party that lasted 3 days. Now she stood in chains, waiting to die. High Arbiter Velmuth rose from his seat at the top of the chamber. He was twice the height of a human. His body was made of segments like a centipede, and his face had no expression that humans could read. His voice echoed through the chamber like thunder. "The charges are clear," he said. "Ambassador Park Gina of Earth has violated Directive 7. She made contact with a species that had not yet developed space travel. She gave them knowledge they were not meant to have. This is contamination. This is a crime against the natural order." Gina lifted her head. Her black hair was dirty and tangled. They had kept her in a cell for 3 weeks. They had not let her wash. They had not let her speak to anyone from Earth. "I helped them," she said. Her voice was calm. The remnant people were dying. A plague was killing them. 90 million of them. I showed them how to clean their water. That is all I did. The Arbiter did not react. Intent does not matter. The law is the law. You gave technology to a primitive species. The punishment is death. Murmurs spread through the chamber. Some of the aliens seemed uncomfortable. The Thesan delegation clicked their mandibles nervously. The Valkyrie representatives smiled, if their strange faces could be said to smile. Gina looked around the chamber. She had worked with many of these species. She had shared meals with them. She had learned their languages, their customs, their jokes. She had believed they were her friends. None of them spoke in her defense. 8 billion kilometers away. On Earth, Admiral Kan Do-yoon sat in a dark room and watched. The room was deep underground, beneath the mountains of Korea. It was a room that officially did not exist. The screens on the walls showed the trial from 17 different angles. Admiral Kang was 62 years old. His hair was gray. His face was lined with years of difficult decisions. He had served Earth's military for 40 years. He had fought in 3 wars. He had buried more friends than he could count. He had never felt as cold as he felt now. Commander Yoon Hana stood beside him. She was young, barely 30, but her eyes were old. She had been chosen for this position because she could make hard choices without breaking. "They are really going to do it," she said quietly. "They are going to execute her for saving lives." The Admiral did not answer. His eyes stayed fixed on the screen. In the chamber, the Arbiter continued speaking. "The Council has considered the evidence. The Council has reached a verdict. Park Gina of Earth is guilty. The sentence is termination." Gina closed her eyes for a moment. When she opened them again, there was no fear in them. Only a strange, sad acceptance. "May I send a message to my family?" she asked. "You may speak," the Arbiter said. "Your words will be transmitted to Earth." Gina looked directly at the small drone that floated near the ceiling. It was recording everything. Billions of humans were watching. Her mother was watching. Her brother was watching. Admiral Kang was watching. She took a deep breath. "Mom," she said, "I am sorry I will not come home. Please do not cry for me. I did what was right. I would do it again." She paused. Her eyes hardened. "To everyone on Earth," she continued, "do not mourn me. Do not negotiate. Do not forgive. Remember what they did here today. Remember that I saved 90 million lives and they killed me for it." In the underground room, Admiral Kang's hand moved slowly toward a red console on the desk. It was a simple thing. Just a button and a screen. It had been installed 40 years ago, right after humanity made first contact with the Council. It had never been touched. Until now. Commander Yoon watched him. "Sir," she said, "if you press that button, there is no going back. The Council has 38,000 warships. We have 47. 47 registered warships." The Admiral corrected her. She stared at him. "Sir?" He did not explain. His eyes stayed on the screen. In the chamber, a machine descended from the ceiling. The Council called it the Absolver. It was designed to kill quickly and painlessly. The Council considered this mercy. Gina looked up at it. She did not beg. She did not scream. She simply stood straight and waited. "I am proud of you," her mother whispered. 8 billion kilometers away. "Execute the sentence," the Arbiter commanded. The machine fired a beam of white light. Ambassador Gina died standing for exactly 3 seconds. There was silence on Earth, in homes and offices and ships across the planet. 8 billion humans watched their ambassador die. 8 billion humans felt something break inside them. Then Admiral Kang pressed the button. Across Earth, in hidden bases that no Council inspector had ever found, red lights began to glow. Secret factories powered on. Hidden shipyards opened their doors. 200 years of preparation began to wake. "This is Admiral Kang Do-yun," he said into the microphone. "To all United Earth Forces. Operation Reckoning is now active. Humanity is at war with the Galactic Council." Commander Yoon stared at him with wide eyes. "The Council will destroy us." The Admiral stood up. For the first time in hours, he smiled. It was not a happy smile. "They will try," he said. The news of the execution spread across the galaxy in hours. Every species heard about it. Every world discussed it. The Council expected fear. They expected humans to apologize and beg for forgiveness. They did not expect war. Foreign Minister Desek of the Velkari Empire laughed when he received Earth's declaration. He was sitting in his office, surrounded by screens showing reports from across the galaxy. His skin was purple and covered in small scales. His mouth was too wide for his face. "They cannot be serious," he said to his advisors. 47 ships against 38,000? This is not war. This is suicide. His military commander, a massive Valkyrie named Droth, nodded in agreement. They are an emotional species. They will calm down in a few days. Then they will surrender. Send a message to their government, Desek ordered. Tell them we will accept their surrender. Tell them we will only execute their military leaders as punishment. We are generous. The message was sent. Earth did not reply. 6 hours later, the laughter stopped. Captain Lee Myra had been waiting for 11 years. Her ship, the ESS Silent Thunder, was officially listed as destroyed. Her crew was officially dead. Their families had received death certificates and memorial payments. Some of their children had grown up believing their parents were gone. They had sacrificed everything for this moment. Myra sat in her command chair and watched the screens. Orbital Station Primus hung in space before her, a massive ring of metal and weapons. 2,000 Velkari warships floated around it like flies around a corpse. The station was the heart of the Council's military power. It had never been attacked. Tonight, it would fall. All ships report ready. Her second officer, Lieutenant Chomin Su, announced. 46 vessels in position. Myra nodded. 46 ships. 2,000 enemies. The odds were impossible, but Earth had spent 200 years preparing for impossible odds. You all know why we are here, Myra said into the communication system. Her voice reached every ship in her hidden fleet. You all saw what they did to Ambassador Park. You all felt what I felt. Tonight, we make them pay. Tonight, we show them what humanity looks like when it is angry. She paused. Her hand rested on the firing controls. Fujina, she whispered. Fujina, 46 ships answered. They attacked. The Council had never seen ships like Earth's hidden fleet. They moved without making heat. They appeared from nowhere, like ghosts rising from the dark. Their weapons fired beams that cut through shields the Valkyrie considered invincible. The first Valkyrie ship exploded before it could send a warning. The second ship died trying to raise its shields. The third, fourth, and fifth ships crashed into each other as they tried to flee. Station Primus tried to defend itself. Its weapons were massive, designed to destroy entire fleets. But they could not hit targets they could not see. The human ships danced through space like shadows, appearing and disappearing, striking and vanishing. In 4 hours, it was over. Station Primus burned. 2,000 ships drifted in pieces. The greatest military base in the galaxy had fallen to 46 human vessels. Captain Lee Myra looked at the destruction and felt nothing. Her heart had gone cold the moment she watched Gina die. Send a message to Earth, she ordered. Tell them Primus is gone. Then tell them we are moving to the next target. Across the galaxy, similar attacks erupted like fire spreading through dry grass. Hidden fleets that Earth had built in secret. Weapons platforms disguised as mining stations. Agents who have been living among alien species for decades. Waiting for this signal. General O. Tassin commanded the ground forces from his bunker beneath Korea. He was a short man with a calm face and eyes that had seen too much death. His job was to coordinate attacks on 50 different worlds simultaneously. His screens showed green lights turning on across the map. Each light was a successful attack. Each light was a council base destroyed. Sir, one of his officers called out. The council is requesting communication. They want to negotiate. Tell them no, General O replied. We are not finished. On the council homeworld, Foreign Minister Desek was no longer laughing. He stood in the emergency chamber, surrounded by representatives from every council species. Everyone was screaming. Everyone was afraid. How is this possible? He demanded. Our intelligence said they had 47 ships. Where did these fleets come from? No one could answer. The truth was simple, but the council had never thought to look for it. For 200 years, humanity had smiled and nodded and followed every rule. They had let the council inspect their shipyards. They had reported every vessel they built. They had seemed like perfect, obedient members of galactic society. But behind the smile, they had been building underground factories on moons the council never visited. Secret shipyards hidden in asteroid fields. Weapons developed in laboratories that officially studied farming. An entire military force that existed only in the shadows. They had always known this day might come. The day the council showed its true face. The day humanity learned that the galaxy did not respect kindness or mercy or compassion. And now that day had arrived. Admiral Kang watched the reports come in from his underground command center. Station Primus destroyed. 3 Valkyrie military moons destroyed. The Thesan weapons factory destroyed. 17 council patrol fleets destroyed. Commander Yoon stood beside him. Her face was pale. She had known about Operation Reckoning, but knowing and seeing were different things. The Council is trying to surrender, she reported. They are offering to return Ambassador Park's body. They are offering payment to her family. Admiral Kang turned to look at her. His eyes were empty. Ambassador Park is dead, he said. Payment will not bring her back. Apologies will not bring her back. Nothing will bring her back. Then what do we want? Yoon asked. The Admiral looked back at the screens. More green lights were appearing. More Council bases were falling. We want them to understand, he said quietly. We want them to know what it feels like when something precious is taken from you. We want them to remember this feeling for the next 12,000 years. He pressed a button on his console. All forces, he announced. The Council is requesting surrender. We refuse. Continue the attack. Show no mercy. Across the galaxy, human forces heard his words. And they obeyed. The war had only just begun. The galaxy had never seen anything like the human war. For 12,000 years, conflicts between species had followed rules. There were negotiations. There were pauses. There were opportunities to surrender with honor. Humans followed none of these rules. They attacked without warning. They refused every offer of peace. They pushed forward no matter how many ships they lost. They fought like creatures who had nothing left to lose, because they didn't. The moment the Council killed Gina, something changed in humanity. A switch flipped. A door closed. The species that had spent 2 centuries trying to make friends suddenly stopped caring about friendship. They only cared about one thing now, making the Council pay. Lieutenant Baek Soo-jin was 26 years old. She had joined the military because she wanted to protect people. She had a little sister back on Earth who sent her letters every week. She had a dog named Bomi who was being cared for by her parents. She had watched the execution live. She had watched Gina die standing. Now she flew her fighter through the wreckage of a battle, chasing a Valkyrie dreadnought. Her ship was damaged. One engine was dead. Her weapons were almost empty. The dreadnought was the enemy flagship. It carried the Valkyrie High General. If it escaped, it would reach the Council homeworld and bring reinforcements. Soo-jin could not let that happen. Thunder lead to command, she said into her radio. Her voice was calm. My weapons are depleted. Engines failing. The flagship is trying to jump to light speed. Admiral Kang's voice came through the static. Thunder lead, break off. Return to carrier for repairs. Soo-jin looked at her screens. The dreadnought's engines were warming up. In 30 seconds, it would disappear. Negative command, she said. I have one weapon left. There was silence on the radio. Everyone knew what she meant. Lieutenant, the Admiral said quietly, you don't have to do this. Soo-jin smiled. She pulled up a picture on her screen. It showed her family at her graduation ceremony. Her mother was crying. Her father was pretending not to cry. Her sister was making a silly face. Tell my family I love them, she said. Tell them I was thinking of them. She pushed her throttle forward. Her damaged fighter screamed across space, trailing smoke and fire. The dreadnought's defense guns fired at her. Explosions rocked her ship. Warnings screamed in her ears. She did not slow down. Her fighter hit the dreadnought's engine core at full speed. For a moment, there was just light. Pure, white light. Then the flagship exploded in a ball of fire that could be seen from planets away. Lieutenant Baek Soo-jin was gone. But so was the enemy High General. So was the flagship. So was any hope of Valkyrie reinforcements. Her last transmission was received by every human ship in the sector. It was just coordinates. The location of the next target. Stories like Soo-jin's happened every day in the war. Humans did things that other species considered insane. They flew damaged ships into enemy bases. They held positions against impossible odds. They refused to retreat, even when retreat was the only logical choice. Sergeant Wang Jisoo became a legend on Thesan Prime. The Thesan were insect-like creatures, six-legged and fast. Their homeworld was covered in mountains and forests. Human forces had landed to destroy their weapons factories, but the attack went wrong. Most of the human soldiers were killed in the first hours. Jisoo and 19 other soldiers were cut off from the main force. They found a mountain pass that controlled the only route to the human landing zone. If the Thesan got through, they would destroy the human ships. The mission would fail. Jisoo made a decision. "We hold this pass," he told his soldiers. No matter what, they built walls from rocks and fallen trees. They set traps using broken equipment. They prepared for a fight they knew they could not win. The Thesan attacked with 10,000 soldiers. Jisoo and his 19 held them for 72 hours. They fought without sleep. They fought without food. When they ran out of ammunition, they fought with knives and rocks and their bare hands. The pass filled with Thesan bodies. The rocks turned black with alien blood. When human reinforcements finally arrived, they found Jisoo still standing. His uniform was torn. His face was covered in cuts and burns. His hands were broken from fighting. Around him lay the bodies of nearly 3,000 Thesan warriors. "Sergeant," the rescue commander said in shock, "how are you still alive?" Jisoo looked at him with empty eyes. "They killed our ambassador," he said. "They thought we would break. They were wrong." He asked for ammunition. Then he asked for the location of the next battle. The council could not understand what was happening. Their military leaders studied human tactics and found them illogical. Humans took risks that made no sense. They accepted losses that should have destroyed their morale. They kept fighting when any rational species would have surrendered. "They are broken," one Valkyrie general declared. "Their minds have snapped. They are not thinking clearly." But Admiral Kang knew the truth. Humans were not broken. They were focused. Every soldier, every pilot, every commander had seen the same thing. They had watched a woman die for saving lives. They had felt the injustice of it burn into their souls, and now they were making the galaxy feel the burn too. "Sir," Commander Yoon reported one morning, "our losses are heavy. We have lost 40% of our fleet." Admiral Kang nodded. He had expected this. "And the council?" "Yes." Yoon checked the reports. "They have lost 63% of their military forces. 12 of their major worlds have fallen. Their economy is collapsing. Continue the attack," Kang ordered. Yoon hesitated. "Sir, some of our allies in the assembly are asking us to negotiate. They say we have proven our point. They say we should accept peace." Kang turned to look at her. His eyes were hard. "Did the council negotiate before they killed Gina?" he asked. "No, sir." "Did they give her a chance to defend herself properly? Did they consider mercy?" "No, sir." "Then neither will we." He turned back to his screens. "Tell our allies that Earth does not forgive. Not this time. Not ever. The war continues until the council no longer exists." Across the galaxy, the fighting went on. Worlds burned. Ships exploded. Millions died on both sides. And humanity did not stop. The war entered its 8th month. The galaxy was burning. The Valkyrie Empire, which had ruled the council for 3,000 years, was falling apart. Their homeworld was under siege. Their fleets were scattered. Their allies were abandoning them one by one. The council begged for peace 7 times. Each time, humanity said no. Dr. Shin Yoonji was not a soldier. She was a scientist. For 20 years, she had studied alien biology at the Seoul Institute for Xenological Research. She was quiet and kind. She loved her work. She had never hurt anyone in her life. She had also been Gina's best friend since childhood. When Gina died, something changed in Yoonji. She stopped sleeping. She stopped eating properly. She spent every hour in her laboratory, working on something she would not explain to anyone. After 3 months, she finished. She called it the silent voice. It was a virus, designed specifically for Valkyrie biology. It would not kill them. It would do something worse. It would destroy their neural implants, the technology that connected their minds and allowed them to communicate instantly with each other. Without those implants, a Valkyrie became isolated, alone, cut off from the collective consciousness of their species. For them, it was a fate worse than death. The council called a peace conference. They were desperate. They invited human representatives to discuss terms. Admiral Kang refused to go, but he allowed a small delegation to attend. Unji volunteered to join the delegation. "You are not military," the admiral said. "Why do you want to go?" Yoonji looked at him with calm eyes. "Gina was my friend. I want to see the faces of the creatures who killed her." The admiral studied her for a long moment. Then he nodded. "Be careful," he said. The conference was held on a neutral station. 17 council leaders attended, including Foreign Minister Dezek himself. They sat around a great table, their faces showing hope for the first time in months. Unji sat quietly among the human delegation. She carried a small case in her hands. No one searched it. The council was too eager for peace to worry about security. The negotiations began. The council offered everything. They would pay reparations. They would apologize publicly. They would give human seats on a reformed council. They would change their laws. The human delegates listened. They asked questions. They made notes. Yoonji sat silently, waiting. Then, at the right moment, she opened her case. Inside was a small device, no bigger than her hand. She pressed a button. The device released a cloud of invisible particles into the air. Within seconds, every Valkyrie in the room collapsed. They were not dead, but their neural implants were destroyed. Their connection to their species was gone forever. 17 council leaders, including the most powerful political figures in the galaxy, became helpless, isolated creatures. Chaos erupted. Guards rushed in. Weapons were drawn. Yoonji did not run. She did not hide. She stood calmly as Valkyrie security surrounded her. "You killed my friend," she said to the screaming Desek. "Now you will live the rest of your life alone." Just like she died alone. She transmitted the virus formula to every human ship before they killed her. Within weeks, the virus spread across Valkyrie space. Billions of them lost their neural connections. Their society collapsed. Their military could no longer coordinate. Their government fell into civil war. Admiral Kang received the news in his command center. He sat in silence for a long time. "Sir," Commander Yoon said quietly, "Dr. Shin knew she would die. She planned this from the beginning." The admiral nodded. She loved Gina like a sister. She wanted revenge more than she wanted to live. He stood and walked to the window. Outside, the stars were shining. Somewhere out there, the war was continuing. Somewhere out there, people were dying. "How many scientists do we have like her?" he asked. "How many soldiers like Lieutenant Beak? How many sergeants like Wang Jisu?" Yoon thought about the question. "Millions, sir. Maybe more." "That is why we will win," Kang said. The council thought we were soft. They thought we were weak because we cared about life. They did not understand. He turned to face her. Those who love life most fiercely are those who fight hardest to protect it. The council made a mistake when they killed Gina. They woke something in humanity that should have been left sleeping. 2 months later, Admiral Kang died. The Battle of Earth's Gate was the largest battle of the war. The remaining Council forces gathered for one final attack on human space. They had 3,000 ships. Earth had less than half that number. Admiral Kang led the defense personally. The battle lasted 6 days. Ships exploded like fireworks across the darkness of space. Millions of beings died. The Gate, a massive space station that controlled travel in and out of Earth's system, was nearly destroyed. On the 4th day, a Valkyrie missile struck Kang's flagship. The bridge was destroyed. Most of the command crew died instantly. Admiral Kang survived long enough to give one final order. "Commander Yoon," he said through the smoke and fire, "you are in command now. Finish this. For Gina, for everyone we have lost. Finish this." Yoon's voice was steady even as tears ran down her face. "Yes, sir. I will," Kang smiled. It was the first real smile anyone had seen on his face since the war began. "Tell my wife I am sorry," he whispered. "Tell her I wish I could have come home." Then he was gone. Commander Yoon, now Admiral Yoon, took command. She rallied the remaining human forces. She pushed the Council fleet back. She broke their lines and scattered their ships. On the 6th day, the Battle of Earth's Gate ended. The Council fleet was destroyed. The path to the Council homeworld was open. Admiral Yoon gathered her battered fleet and prepared for the final attack. Her ships were damaged. Her crews were exhausted. They had lost so many friends, so many loved ones, but they were not finished. "All ships," she announced, "set course for the Council homeworld. It is time to end this war." Behind her, what remained of humanity's fleet began to move. Toward the heart of the enemy. Toward the final battle. Toward victory. The Council homeworld surrendered without a fight. When Admiral Yoon's fleet arrived in orbit, they found a planet in chaos. The government had collapsed. The Valkyrie were still suffering from the virus that had destroyed their neural connections. Other species were fighting for power. Riots burned in the streets of cities that had stood peaceful for thousands of years. The mighty Galactic Council, which had ruled 47 species for 12,000 years, was dead. Humanity had killed it in 14 months. Admiral Yoon broadcast a message to the planet below. Her voice was tired but strong. "This is Admiral Yoon Hana of the United Earth Fleet. The war is over. The Council is dissolved. You will not be occupied. You will not be enslaved. You will not be destroyed. But you will remember this day. You will remember what happened when you executed an innocent woman for saving lives. You will remember what humanity looks like when it is angry." She paused. Her eyes burned with emotion. "Never again," she said. "Do you understand? Never again." The planet did not answer. But across the galaxy, every species heard her words. And they understood. The Treaty of Reckoning was signed 1 year later. On the anniversary of Gina's death, humanity did not take revenge. They did not steal territory or demand slaves. They did not do the things that conquering species had done throughout galactic history. Instead, they built something new. The Galactic Assembly replaced the old Council. Every species had equal voice. Laws were debated openly, not dictated by the powerful. The punishment for helping other species was no longer death. It was celebration. Director Park Jun-ho represented humanity at the first assembly meeting. He was Gina's younger brother. He had spent the war working in military intelligence, helping coordinate the attacks that broke the Council's power. Now he stood in the same chamber where his sister had died. They had removed the execution machine. In its place hung a portrait of Gina, painted from her last photograph. She was smiling in the picture. She looked young and hopeful and alive. Junho looked at the gathered species. Some had been enemies. Some had been neutral. Some had secretly supported humanity during the war. All of them were watching him with different expressions. Fear, respect, curiosity. Shamed out, he spoke slowly, choosing his words with care. My sister broke your law, he said. She gave medicine to a dying people. She saved 90 million lives. And you killed her for it. The chamber was silent. No one could meet his eyes. We could have destroyed you, Junho continued. We had the power. We had the will. When you killed Gina, something broke in humanity. We stopped caring about rules. We stopped caring about consequences. We only cared about making you pay. He paused. His voice softened. But that is not who we want to be. Revenge felt good. Justice felt good. But after the anger faded, we realized something. If we became monsters to fight monsters, then the council would have won. Gina would have died for nothing. He looked up at his sister's portrait. My sister did not save those people because she wanted praise. She did not break the law because she wanted to rebel. She did it because it was right. Because when you see suffering and you have the power to help, doing nothing is the real crime. He turned back to the assembly. Humanity is offering you a choice. We can build a new galaxy together. A galaxy where helping others is celebrated, not punished. A galaxy where every species has value. A galaxy where mercy is strength, not weakness. Or you can refuse. You can try to fight us again. You can try to rebuild the old council in the old ways. His eyes grew hard. But remember what happened the last time you underestimated us. Remember the price you paid. Remember that somewhere, right now, human children are being taught about this war. They are being taught what happens when someone hurts their family. He let the silence stretch. Choose wisely. The assembly chose peace. On Earth, the war memorials were built. The names of the dead were carved in stone. Lieutenant Baek Sujin, Dr. Shin Yoonji, Admiral Kang Doyoung, Sergeant Wang Jisoo, thousands of others, millions of others. Admiral Yoon retired. She had given enough. She had lost enough. She wanted to rest. She traveled to Busan, to a small apartment overlooking the ocean. An old woman lived there alone. Her name was Park Yuna. She was Gina's mother. Yoon knocked on the door. The old woman opened it and smiled when she saw who it was. Admiral, she said. Please, come in. They sat together and drank tea. The apartment was small but clean. Pictures covered the walls. Gina as a baby. Gina at school. Gina graduating from the academy. Gina receiving her ambassador appointment. I watched the assembly meeting, Yuna said. Junho did well. Gina would have been proud. Yoon nodded. He is a good man. Like his sister, they sat in comfortable silence for a while. Outside, the ocean waves crashed against the shore. The sun was setting, painting the sky in shades of orange and red. Admiral, Yuna said quietly, may I ask you something? Of course. Was it worth it? The old woman's eyes were wet. The war. The death. All those people who died. Was it worth it? Yoon thought about the question for a long time. She thought about Kang dying on his bridge. She thought about Sujin flying into that dreadnought. She thought about Yoonji standing calmly as the guards closed in. She thought about all the soldiers who had given everything. Your daughter saved 90 million lives, she said finally. The galaxy killed her for it. And now, because of what we did, no one will ever be killed for saving lives again. The laws have changed. The galaxy has changed. Mercy is no longer a crime. She looked at the old woman. Your daughter changed the universe. She died for it. We went to war for it. And now, because of all that sacrifice, the galaxy is better. Not perfect, but better. Yuna nodded slowly. Tears ran down her wrinkled cheeks. Then it was worth it, she whispered. The sun disappeared below the horizon. The stars came out, one by one, filling the sky with light. Somewhere out there, the new assembly was meeting. Somewhere out there, species that had been enemies were learning to be friends. Somewhere out there, a better future was being built, and in a small apartment in Busan, an old woman and a tired admiral sat together in the darkness, remembering those who had been lost. The war was over. The future had begun.